You are listening to the ERP, Organizational Change Journal, a podcast brought to you by Nestle and Associates.
And Carol, I really like your third fundamental concept, and that is the idea of creating a supportive environment for performers. Mm-hmm. So we talked about this idea of process, and then before that, we talked about this idea of context. And then you also talk about one of the three primary fundamental concepts is this idea of performers. Can you explain that?
Yeah, performers or employees are the organization. After all, if you take away all the employees, what do you have? A bunch of machines, and empty warehouses. Yeah. But creating a supportive environment for performers, to me, is a, if not the critical requirement for supervisors, managers, anybody that has people reporting to them. And what I think is important is making clear to everyone in the organization that you recognize that everyone lives within a performance environment in the simplistic way that we describe it, that I'll give you in a minute. But everyone from the CEO to the janitor lives within a performance system which consists of expectations or the results that the position incumbent is expected to produce, the resources, including the work tools, the things that you use every day to get the job done, or raw materials and things like that, as well as required skills and knowledge. In addition to expectations and resources, you have consequences, which is really incentives or sanctions. What happens when a result is produced from an expectation? Do they get pat on the back, acknowledged? Is there any feedback at all? Is there any way for the performer to know if they have succeeded or not? There's also feedback, which is a consequence, in my opinion, as well. But, feedback to tell the performer how close or far away they were. In the case of feedback and consequences, but mostly consequences, you can have formally or engineered by the organization consequences. You can also have consequences that come from your fellow workers and come from the environment. So perhaps in a union situation, you have somebody who's new and they got the expectations that these are the things I'm supposed to do, and just really putting in all the effort to do it, not only on time, but, of the highest quality and all the rest of it. And the other folks are saying, oh, you know what, you didn't get the memo. You're not supposed to do it that well. But there are all kinds of things that we don't even think about until you start looking with those glasses on that are in the environment that are discouraging as opposed to supporting. I have a little tool that I share with people. I mean, this is a really simple model, but the important part about it is to get you to think when you're looking at performers, and make sure that the performance system that you provide is supportive of their ability to be successful in carrying out their job expectations. Yeah. Because, of course, expectations drive the performance system, which is another vote for looking at the expectations that people have and making sure that they are correctly and consistently tracked back or linked back to the organization's results. We strive to have all positions have a line of sight through the process that they belong to the organization and its results. Yeah. It's not only engaging, it's very rewarding for people, and they really get that we're all in this together mentality, and people begin to be able to appreciate and understand the value of the others. Nobody gets up in the morning and says, you know what, I think I'm going to do a terrible job today.
Exactly. And I really appreciated that idea and that fundamental concept of focusing on the performers, because I do agree that often that's a piece that's overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes it can be a little bit abstract, right? I think that stakeholder dynamics and diversity in terms of motivation, knowledge, experience, and of course, organizational factors, as you'd mentioned, the value of feedback and positive reinforcement, for instance, those are pretty important parts of organizational performance and organizational improvement. And often I do think it's a bit overlooked.